Today, we travel through rolling prairies of central Kansas on I-70, headed to our Harvest Host overnight stop, a decommissioned Atlas intercontinental nuclear ballistic missile site. Western United States experiences nearly constant winds, a benefit for electricity generation.
You're probably curious how I got involved with missile bases. I found my first missile base when I was 10 years old. I was hiking through the Flint Hills of Kansas, and all of a sudden I came across this paved road in the middle of nowhere. You know, high security chain link fence, barbed wire on top. I'm all like, what is this? The place looked abandoned, the gate was open. I followed the road, and so I saw the personnel entrance door. I tried the handle and it opened. So I ended up meeting the owner the next day when I came back with a flashlight ready to explore. And he gave me a tour, and he was a retired school teacher who had found this place completely abandoned and flooded full of water. So he drained out over 1 million gallons of water. Wow. And then he started fixing up the former launch control center, where the bathrooms used to be. He turned that into his private residence. So this was originally filled with 4 tons of sand between the launch control center and the surface. Now that would protect from the overpressures of that explosion. Come on in. We had some rains the other day. Maybe it was just a little wet.
Dang.
What you see here, this is a button that would have buzzed you into this room. Electronic locks would unlock the door, and then you would shut the door behind you. You would then pick up a phone and look into a camera. You would see a hole in the wall, and then you would say your access code. If you said the right code, it would buzz you on through to the next room. If you said the wrong code, you're trapped in here until military police come to take you away. So, this is known as an entrapment room for that purpose. Yeah, follow me this way, and I'll show you what's next. So next we come to these 2 glass doors. Okay, this is a 2,000-pound door. This is made from manganese, so it has a higher melting point than regular steel. Now you may have noticed as we came down the stairs, we went around a corner, another corner, and another corner. The engineering is such that if that energy wave came down, each time it had to stop and turn, it would lose up to 10% of its energy. So by the time it got to the curvature of this door, that would dissipate that energy into these thick concrete walls. So come on up this way. So just around the corner, you'll see there's a box. This is a locking mechanism that would make sure that both doors cannot be opened at the same time. That way the missileers would never be exposed to any danger from outside. You can see there's a hole cut into this door. That was part of our SALT agreement with the Soviet Union, Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty. Both nations were bringing down their nuclear arsenals, and this was a way of demonstrating that this was a non-operational base. Here, come on down to the top level where the missileers used to live. So this room, although it looks a bit open right now, originally when I got this, there were walls and the whole infrastructure was here. This top floor was known as the writing room. This is where the missileers used to live. So there were bunk beds over there. You're standing right next to where the utility closet used to be. So there was a hot water heater and a sink in there. Over here, you're in the bathroom. So there was a shower, 2 toilets, a urinal, and a couple of sinks. Over here was a kitchen and a dining area. You see this handle here? This is for the AC patch. So the AC patch over here is what you guys are looking down. All that sand will drop down here. You would hook in the ladder, and then you can climb onto the surface. You may notice that the floor is separate from the walls. Originally, this was suspended from the ceiling. So you had air shocks that stabilized the entire place. In the event of an explosion, things may move around a bit. That's why the electrical conduit is flexible, and even the lights are on springs. Guys, watch your head. This is a low entryway up here, okay? Yeah. So here's the original launch control desk. You even see the rotary phone where you could call in. Unfortunately, they gutted this. So one of the things I would like to do is remove this and replace it with a touchscreen monitor and then digitally recreate what it would have looked like. So you could go through a simulation of launching a missile. You see this green color painted everywhere? So psychological studies show that this color spectrum has a soothing or calming effect on people. It's supposed to reduce stress. That's why you see this color scheme in a lot of military facilities and hospitals and even schools that were built by Russian kitchen is cool. So the glass door that's right there, that was welded shut when I purchased the site. So we had to cut the welds off with a cutting torch, and then we were pulling on the door from this side with a come along, and I was hitting it with another side with a sledgehammer over and over and over. And it was like a resounding gong in here. It was crazy, but we would get like a 1/16 of an inch, maybe an 1/8 of an inch. Yes, we're making progress. And it took hours, and we finally got that open. But you see this tray here? This was for wiring that was run along on this tray. There was an explosion from outside. These would. In fact, the engineers figured out that these two doors probably weren't enough, and they put in that third door as an afterthought. So you'll see these big springs attached to the side of the wall. Those are for holding the 9 floors and the missile all in place. So if there was an explosion at the top, things may shake but still stay stable. So, and it's about 80 feet down to where the water is, and I estimate there's between 60 and 70 feet of water still down in there. So, go ahead, take a step up there and have a look. So my friend down in Texas, he converted his missile silo full of water into a scuba diving center. So people can go deep water diving.
That's awesome. That would be drop the fun.
I'll try not to.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying that looks really cool. Yeah.
In June of 2022, Matthew's dreams seemed to turn the silo into a B&B were big, taking many years in our estimation. So today, nearly 4 years later, I looked up on his Harvest Host site. It's amazing to see how much was accomplished for this gentleman and his wild ideas. Harvest Host members can camp upstairs and tour the innards, or reserve accommodations down below. Great job, Matthew. We toast you and your dream come true.